week on the show, I'm going to be talking all about the new Evergreen Instagram funnel strategy, what it actually is, why you should care, and a little bit about what that has looked like in my business implementing it. So before we get into that, just to talk a little bit about Instagram, just in general. I know that a lot of us coaches are using Instagram for our marketing, for our businesses. And probably what a lot of us are finding at the moment is that engagement on Instagram is pretty shit. The app has changed quite a lot over the last couple of years. Obviously, Reels is the thing that's getting a lot more attention. But even recently, even with Reels, the engagement on Instagram just hasn't been very good. The app can be a bit glitchy, and I think generally people are falling out of love with the platform. And to a certain degree, that's been my experience. I wouldn't say that I've fallen out of love with it. I still like Instagram for a lot of things, which I'm going to talk a bit about. But I think for a lot of us, in terms of we're on there to market our businesses in some way, shape or form. And again, I can expand on that a little bit. We're finding Instagram isn't the same experience that it's been previously. And sometimes I think when this happens, it's like we have to change our approach completely. And that's certainly where I've been at with Instagram over the last little bit of time, over the last couple of months. And I just wanted to share a little bit about, first of all, about how I approach Instagram in general, and then to get into this new Evergreen Instagram funnel and explain what that is in case that's something that you think would be beneficial. But even if it's not, I hope that this episode of the show will give you lots to think about when it comes to Instagram and what role Instagram plays in your business. So like I said, Instagram is been an interesting platform recently. I think it is trying to figure out who it is. It's trying to be TikTok. I think all platforms at a certain degree are trying to be TikTok. And I think people are getting really frustrated with it. But I wanted to talk first of all a bit about how I approach Instagram, or how I've approached it in the recent past, and just a bit about the journey that's led me up to this point where I've changed the way that I approach it in quite a fundamental way. So I used to find, Instagram basically has always been the place where I felt the most triggered, I felt the most comparison. And at a certain point, I think like a couple of years ago, I just didn't enjoy being on the platform at all. I just felt shit every time I opened it, basically. It just didn't make me feel very good. There was never enough followers, never enough likes. There was other people posting on there that would really trigger my comparison, and it just wasn't a very fun place to hang out. And I was getting really frustrated with that. And then in response to that, I made a very conscious decision around how I wanted to approach Instagram. And what I found really helpful was to write a manifesto for myself and my business. This is what Instagram means to me. And I found that really helpful because when we define something, when we make it really clear what something is, I think that can be really helpful in how we relate to that thing going forward. So I'm a big fan of writing an Instagram manifesto as a little task, a little thing that you can do. And what really came up for me with Instagram is that I want it to be about sharing my whole self. So I don't want to be thinking, oh, is this not businessy enough? Is this too personal? Is this too that? I just want to share me. So if it's me, I'm going to share it. That's how I approach it. I like sharing behind the scenes stuff. I want to connect with people, and really that's what I want it to be about, is about connecting with people and not just about followers and likes. And I also just wanted to be able to amplify the work that I'm doing in other places. I think where I was getting really caught up with Instagram was the fact that I was treating it like my main marketing platform, but it actually wasn't my main marketing platform, and it really didn't deserve to have that much pressure put on it, to be fair. So when I realised that made a massive difference and really helped me redefine what my relationship was with the platform. And since then, it's made a big difference. I do have to keep coming back to that manifesto and reminding myself of it sometimes though, because it's sneaky how it can get into your head, worrying about all these things again and worrying about how things look or are perceived by others. And again, something that's been quite difficult for me, I think, to navigate is this feeling of your stuff being on show and other people being able to see how successful it is or how not successful it is and all of that kind of stuff. It was just really helpful to write that Instagram manifesto and to say, this is what Instagram is for me. Don't worry about stuff that's really not important in the grand scheme of things. And that was really useful. And then, like I touched on at the start of the show, I wanted to talk a bit about the changes to Instagram first. I feel like most of us who are on the platform are aware that Instagram is going through some big changes in terms of how the platform works. So short form video in the form of Reels, that's where most of the algorithm is sending people. But even with that, I think back a couple of years ago when Reels first came out, if you were doing reels, you would be getting really good engagement, whereas now, even if you do reels, the engagement isn't quite as good. So I think that's the main shift. Changes with Instagram, certainly what I've picked up and from people who are posting about this stuff, is that essentially Instagram, the engagement isn't very good. It's a clunky platform to use for some people. Like it can be glitchy, and it's just become that the platform has changed. And I think for all of us who are investing time in a platform to market our businesses, we've got to really ask ourselves, is this still where I want to be? Is the return on investment in terms of time still worth it? And also, do I still actually enjoy being here? I think those are really important questions to ask yourself. I also feel like it's worth just reflecting on how it is that you feel about the platform and how you feel going on there and all of that stuff. There's been a couple of episodes, I think, of the show, and I'll link to them in the notes, where I've talked about how you don't actually have to use social media to grow your business. Like, you don't have to have Instagram if you don't want to, and that's a perfectly valid thing. So if you want to come off Instagram, that's totally fine. So yes, Instagram has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years and will continue to change, I'm sure. I think all of these platforms are going to continue to evolve and change. And as business owners, we need to be aware of that and also change our strategy in response to that a little bit as well. So basically, as a result of those changes, I had like my own like what the fuck moment, basically. And I mentioned this in last week's show. I had a couple of weeks off. Usually I do try and keep up with Instagram even when I'm taking some time off, but for whatever reason, I think because everything else that I had going on at the time, I decided not to. And when I came back after about 2 weeks and posted a carousel post that I'd spent a bit of time on creating, and I think I got like 4 or 5 likes. And that for me, and Instagram is not all about likes, as I've just been saying in my manifesto, I think it was just more of a general reminder that the platform has changed now and that these posts are just not getting the same level of engagement. And although I'm not on Instagram for likes and follows, I'm on Instagram to connect with people. But if people aren't engaging with the stuff, or if Instagram isn't showing it to people to engage with the stuff, then what am I doing? So that was my kind of own what the fuck moment. And that was when I decided something needed to change. So around about that point as well, I was in Elizabeth Goddard's client and customer only Facebook group, and someone posted about this Instagram Evergreen funnel thing, and I was like, oh, that sounds quite interesting. Started reading the comments and read what other people were saying, and instantly just thought, this sounds like an absolute genius idea. And did a bit more digging and found that it was Kirsten from Going Ultraviolet who developed the idea, and then other people have implemented it as well. And I just thought, this sounds really fun and exciting, and it just feels really good. And I tend to make decisions on what feels good in business, and this really did. So I decided to do a bit more research and to implement it. So before I get into what the actual Evergreen Instagram funnel actually is, I wanted to talk first a bit about what is working on Instagram. So I've talked a bit about what isn't working on Instagram in terms of engagement being difficult and just where the platform is in general, but I wanted to also touch a bit on what is working, because before I get into this particular strategy, there are other options if you want Instagram to work better for you. These are just the things that I've noticed, usually other Instagram experts and other people saying, other business owners saying, and there's reasons why these wouldn't necessarily work for me, but I want to share them anyway so that you guys have got that knowledge as well. So what is working on Instagram right now? So basically posting like a fuck ton of content seems to be working. So I mentioned this actually, I think it was in my behind the scenes post going back to March, and I think it was Ray Dodd, I'd been in one of her pay challenges, I think, and she'd been talking about what she was seeing as working, which was basically posting a lot of content. And I was really up for this actually, because most of my content is repurposed. That's a massive big core part of my approach, is to not have to reinvent the wheel. So I had enough content there to make this work, and I tried to approach that. So I was trying to post every day basically if I could. I don't think I ever got to that point, but very quickly I realised that was just not going to work for me for lots of different reasons. I had enough content ideas there. I think it was more the brain space to be able to hold that and to manage it and to do it. And also because of the other stuff that I just had going on in my life at the time. But basically, people who do seem to post quite a lot do seem to be getting results from that. Not like spectacular results, I don't think, but they seem to be doing well from that. So it'd be quite interesting, I think, if Instagram was your main platform and if you had the time. And again, these are all the questions that we need to ask ourselves when we're making decisions about our marketing channels. Would be, do you want to try posting, just like really upping the ante on how much you post? And it might be like that you're posting 2 to 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Now, I don't think that's, for me personally, I think for most coaches, where it's just us and we don't have a social media team, or we don't have a VA, or we don't have anyone else, I don't think that's actually sustainable. But it does seem to be something that's working. And then the other thing, of course, is to focus on reels and to do a lot of the trend in reels as well. And again, it's totally up to you if that's what you want to try. For me personally, it doesn't feel, certainly not like trying to do like the dancey trendy thing. It's just not who I am. If that's who you are, then that's awesome, but it's just not who I am. It doesn't resonate. And again, going back to the fact that I just want Instagram to be a fun place to hang out. I don't want it to feel pressured into having to create a certain amount of content a certain amount of time, although obviously I do understand at the same time, if you want to get engagement, you do have to post something, because it's not going to happen out of nowhere. So those are the 2 things that do seem to be working. But again, I'm not an Instagram expert. This is really just me reflecting what I've heard other people talking about. So that's something just to bear in mind. So we've talked a little bit about how Instagram has shifted as a platform, what's not working on there at the moment in terms of engagement and things like that. I've talked a little bit about what does seem to be working, if those are things that you want to explore. I've explained why I'm not going to try those things and why they're not aligned for me. And I also talked about my what the fuck moment in terms of creating a carousel post and it not getting very much engagement and really like triggering this off. So what is the Evergreen Instagram funnel strategy? It is essentially where you post a static number of grid posts on your feed that sit there for an extended amount of time. They basically operate like an email welcome sequence or a sales funnel. Now, you can head over to my Instagram and check out mine. Most people use an Instagram puzzle. So basically it's like where all of your grid posts connect to create one image. So one like big image that covers 9 or 12 squares on your grid. Like I say, I think Kirsten from Going Ultraviolet developed this. She's got a blog post on it that I'm going to link to. I'm also going to link to her Instagram. So go and check it out. She's got full highlights on her stories where she explains the whole thing. And obviously you can see her Instagram grid funnel there as well. And like I said, there's a few different reasons why this is interesting and why it's got potential to work. The first one is, obviously, as I've been mentioning, the stuff that you used to post on Instagram, like your photos, your graphics, your carousels, they're not getting very much engagement right now. So spending a lot of time doing that doesn't make sense. And also just having your feed just sat there without any new content can look a bit stale. So we've got that one side of things. We've also got the element of being able to spend time and invest time in what is working on Instagram and what does make sense and what you do enjoy. I've always really enjoyed stories. I quite enjoy reels when I get into it. So that's the other side of it. Is if you're not posting on your grid, then you've got more time to focus on the things that are working and that are fun. So that's those sides of it. And like I say, basically what you do is you create a 9 or 12, or it could be 16 more. But basically I would say like a nine grid square image that is broken up. So each individual post is its own individual post, but together it looks like a cool image, which is called an Instagram puzzle if anyone's interested. And this is really about serving new followers. This is very important. It's not going to do very much for your existing followers, but it is going to do a lot for new people who find you. This is really about taking them through a sequence of content that explain about who you are and that perhaps funnel them towards a certain product or service. The way that I've approached it on my grid is to treat it a bit like an email welcome sequence. And in fact, I'm going to repurpose everything that I've written into a new email welcome sequence. So basically that's how I've approached mine. And the idea is that if anyone comes and follows me and is new, they're going to find those grid posts, they can look through that, they can get a sense of who I am really quickly, they're going to know what I offer, they've got a few different offers sprinkled in there, and they're going to get a sense of what I'm about. I immediately don't have the pressure of having to create content for the grid anymore. That's gone. That is an instant feeling of freedom, knowing that I don't have to do that my grid is sitting there. There's something on there that people can access and it looks great. What some people who have implemented this strategy have done is that they've just archived their entire grid. So all of the posts that they've created, they've just archived them. I didn't want to do that. I've got literally years and years of content. So first of all, it would take an age to archive all of that. And secondly, I didn't really want to. I think I've got some really good content on there actually, and I didn't want to hide that away. So people can scroll further down if they want to see it. But I've got 9 posts. I've got like a little strip of just blank posts, and then I've got the rest of my old feed. And yeah, I just feel like in terms of how it works for me, it frees up my time to focus on reels and stories. It introduces people who might be new to my account to what I'm about and my services. It feels fun and experimental and light, and I think it just makes a lot of sense for where I am right now in my business. So that's essentially what it is, how it works. Again, like I said, the idea is that new people find this. New people are going to only find it if you are doing like the reels, the stuff that's working. So it has to be balanced out with that. But again, I think if your approach to Instagram is a bit like mine, is that it's not your main marketing platform, it's a fun place to hang out, and you want it to feel light and fun, and it could make sense to do this, which is hence why I wanted to share it. So the way that I implemented this was I looked at Kirsten's grid, I looked at a few other people's grids. I'm going to try and link some of them in the notes, and then just developed my own approach to it. I wrote all of the captions out, and then I created the Instagram puzzle in Canva. I just did that myself. It took me a little bit of time. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you're not like super into graphic design. I would maybe go and grab a template off Creative Market and then put it all into Plannerly and then just post it. Like one afternoon, I literally just posted it all in one go pretty much. And then I shared about it on my stories and explained to people that this is what I was doing. So that's been really good fun so far. And like I say, it serves as basically a thing for new people, but also like a get out of jail free card in terms of you don't have to post on the grid anymore. And that feels really good for me. So that's essentially how I did it. And like I say, I think this could potentially work for you. It's worth considering if Instagram isn't your main marketing platform. If it is, you're probably going to want to be doing things. You're going to be posting more frequently than I would be anyway. And I would be probably wanting to check like how things go with the engagement. One of the things I haven't done so far is I haven't posted a lot of other stuff. Like I was talking about in last week's episode where I was talking just about this last quarter. Things have been busy. I haven't really getting back up to speed with reels. So I haven't been able to see what's happened to engagement on my account in general. My stories engagement still looks pretty healthy from what I can see, but it's one of those things I would maybe want to get some more evidence if Instagram was my main platform. So if it's not your main platform, then this could be great for you. If you don't really bother much with Instagram, but you want to have some kind of presence on there, like this could definitely work for you if people are searching for you. So if you are someone who doesn't really want to spend a lot of time on social media at all, but you want to have a presence there just so that, say if someone types your name into the search bar, something comes up and they can find out about you, this could work really well. If experimenting with things feels fun and exciting, then this could be for you as well. Yes, I feel like this could be a really good option for a lot of people who perhaps have fallen out of love with Instagram, who want to shake things up a little bit, who want to try something different. And like I say, you can repurpose this whole thing as an email welcome sequence. So you can even repurpose your email welcome sequence as this if you've already got one in place. So there's different ways you can approach it. But yes, a reminder is that if you do want to still see growth on the platform, then you are still going to have to do the other things that work, like reels and stories. One of the things that I'm going to do is sort out all of my story highlights and just get some certain things up there that I want to have up there and just tidy all those up because I haven't really looked at those for a while. So I'm going to redo all of my story highlights and just try and be slightly more proactive with stories and very much more proactive with reels once I get my head back into the game. But yeah, I wanted just to share that approach because, like I said, I think it could be really interesting for a lot of you guys who are not massive fans of social media, who don't want to be on there all the time. It could make a lot of sense, basically. So I'm going to put all the links in the show notes. I'm going to put all the links in the description box of where you can find out more about this for the people who have originally done it. And I really encourage you to go and check them out. They're the ones who, Kirsten from Going Ultraviolet is especially the person you want to check. She's got loads of resources about this on her Instagram. So do go and check that out. And yeah, let me know if you're going to give it a go. I'd really love to know. Come and give me a follow on Instagram at wholeheartedlylaura. Come and check me out. Check out my grid. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you've got any questions, let me know. Pop me a DM. If you're on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you're going to try this as well. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, if it feels like something that you would give a go. Yes, that is in a nutshell the Evergreen Instagram. I think it's called different things. That in a nutshell is the Evergreen Instagram grid funnel. And yeah, I hope that has been helpful in helping you think about Instagram as a whole. To be fair, I've talked a lot about Instagram in general. So I hope it's given you lots to think about. But as always, let me know your thoughts and I'll catch you next time. Bye.